Welcome everyone to the We Empower You and the We Empower You Your Life.com website. I'm Bettina Carey, your host today, and I'm so excited to be welcoming back our $1 million mentor, Miss Lee Romanov, who's going to take it away from here. And I just want to say a great big thank you to everyone who's joined us as a member, who are attending these meetings, that it's open to one and all. And we are excited to be building this membership community, this club, as it were, and also this wonderful opportunity for everyone to join us in this adventure to create new streams of income and, of course, generate wealth to live your legacies now. Why wait, right? Why wait till you're old and gray and you're dead and gone? Let's get you on the road to success. So without further ado, let me welcome Lee Romanov to the stage. Take it away, Lee.
I almost feel like I'm in a talk show, game show when she does this. It's crazy. So, and if anybody wants to unmute their mic and talk to me while I'm doing this, that's fine too. So last week, let me just share my screen here. We talked about creating your own press, which is a really powerful thing to do. Let me just undo some things here so I don't have things staring at me, which is everything. Okay, so let me bring you guys. Okay, creating your own press, really, really important, because if you don't create your own press, someone's going to do it for you, and you don't want them to do it. Now, we've got a website, Business and Consumer Reports, and you can do interviews here with your clients. They can do interviews with you, and you can post it here. And you can get Allie to help you post. And what I'm going to go over this week is how to create, whether you're the interviewer or the interviewee, how to create amazing stories. In fact, what we can do is, you're familiar with the most interesting man in the world. What's his secret? That's what we're going to talk about. Or the most interesting woman in the world. What's her secret? I got to have a laugh here, you guys. Okay.
You need to change the hands too, Lee.
Well, that was, yeah, nothing was there. You're right. It gets worse. Watch it. Okay. So why is it when we watch a movie, we instantly side with the lead actor and want to see them succeed? Like within minutes of a movie, all of a sudden you've already aligned with the lead actor and you want to see them succeed. When you get this strategy down pat, you can go for any lunch, any business meeting, any relationship, anything, and get whoever you're dealing with to be your audience like this. So this is why it's so critical to understand, because it also gives you, oh, Bettina, can you turn off the doorbell?
Maybe. Yes, ma'am. I will do that.
Okay. So this is key and nobody talks about it. And I just can't even believe, and even actors, you've seen Tom Cruise in the Top Gun, you side with him immediately, but then when he's jumping on Oprah's couch, you're like, oh, can I just walk away? So even the actors miss out on this effect. Okay, so when you learn the secret, you too can be the most interesting man in the world. Art. Isn't that adorable?
Okay. How did you do that? How did you do that?
The hands tell it. Or woman.
Oh my gosh.
I know, it's crazy nuts. Okay. So we're going to talk about how to conduct the best interview, how to give the best interview, how to capture someone's attention, whether you're in a business meeting, Zoom call, date, when you have them rooting for you, as you know, so that you're like the actor in everything, in every conversation. You can be that most interesting person, but you got to follow the strategy. And the secret is, all stories follow a 3-step pattern. Really simple. I'm going to go over the 3-step pattern, and then I'm going to have you watch a film. The first step is the call. Okay, so when you're interviewing the character, whether you're interviewing someone or the character is you, what is the call? What are you interviewing with them about? What is it that happened to them that they started this journey? Okay, so what was that point in time? What caused them to do this? So, you know, somebody could have the best this and the best service and the best business and the best product and the best. What started that? What was the call? And that is critical, because as soon as you determine what the call is, that's instant bonding for your audience, because we all get calls and we all understand that the call is not easy, that it demands change, and some people accept it, some people don't. So how did it all ignite? This is the critical thing, and this is often overlooked. So even when you're on, you know, a business meeting, you can, find out if there's telling you something, what is the call? How did this start? Now, the call can be anything, just absolutely anything. You'll be shocked. It can be an idea. Just woke up with this idea. It could be an opportunity that just walked through the door. Those are the easiest calls. This call is a little bit more difficult. This is very introspective, and, you know, things changed in your life. This could be a call then to do something, to come out of your shell in a big way, maybe on the internet. Abuse is a call. I can't take it any longer. Am I going to pick up the phone? Am I going to change or not? It could be an illness. It could be a business betrayal. You could have worked with somebody for a year, done everything possible that you felt was possible, and then, like in an instant, they can just decide to go in another direction. And you're like, and it would have to cause a whole rewrite of your business. So it could be like a betrayal. It could be a death. Common call is no money, honey. Bankruptcy. Censorship. And of course, my favorite, love and romance. Okay, so the key is, how do you answer the call? You could do nothing, or you can take on the challenge. Most people choose the comfort zone. Most people are zoned out. It's more comfortable to sit back on the couch, eat popcorn, and not answer the call. So when someone does answer the call, you become more interesting, because they know, oh my goodness, well, they accepted the challenge, they answered the call. In today's society, for our younger generation, Allie, this is the call for you, okay? Looks like that. Okay. When you accept the call, this is what it looks like when someone's listening to you. It gives instant bonding. Your audience is rooting for you, whether it's a business person or whether it's an audience listening to you on the radio or TV. Whether when you're interviewing, you need to ask a person, what was your call? What started you? When you're being interviewed, send the interview the questions like, here was my calling. Here's what happened. Here's what started it. Here's what ignited it. Here's what happened in my life that caused me to get to this point. When you're telling a story to somebody, every story has a call. So you need to include it. So always begin with the call. What called you to do that? Then the call is quickly followed by the crisis, because it's great to go in, okay, I'm going to do this. But then you always have a challenge when you open up the door, when you answer the call to move forward, to move into change. There's always a challenge. And it's usually way bigger than you had ever expected. In fact, in some respects, once you're into the crisis period, you wish you could go up and hang up the phone again. Okay, and we all understand what a crisis is. We all understand how it feels. We all know that you can't look away from a car accident. That's what the crisis is. So when you're explaining the crisis to your audience, it's like a car accident. You've got them. It's like, what did you do? What did you do then? And there's also within a crisis, accepted courage and accepted respect. So it's all put in together. So this is the kind of magic that happens when you're telling the story from the call to the crisis. How quickly people say, okay, they can't look away from your car accident. So this is what the crisis looks like for most women in business. This could be the crisis. Okay, now what do I do? This could be the crisis. Okay, I'm gonna try it one more time. Okay. The crisis could be censorship. The cancel culture is a big crisis right now. People are erasing people. The call could be, or the crisis could be technology or boredom or something. It's something that you have to overcome to get to the result you finally want. TV show, I Shouldn't Be Alive. You are here. How many people have run their I shouldn't be alive crisis moment in their own life? Every month, every week, every year? We all have this TV show going on in our lives constantly. So if we understand that it comes from a call to a crisis, and everything you do and everything, every piece of every way you grow, this is the pattern. And then from the call to the crisis to the result, extremely important, because the result is a sharing of the knowledge and experience you learned from the call through the crisis to the result. Critical. When Allie's interviewing you guys for the website platform for the Consumer and Business Report, you need to tell Allie what your call is, what your crisis was, and what you learned from it. And then you become the most interesting person in the world. It's also an invitation for the person listening to answer their own call. You're actually teaching people to say, yeah, look at, I did it, you can too. And then you're going to get another call. It never, ever stops. You just have to understand the positioning, understand the pattern, and deal with it and talk about it so that other people can understand the call, the crisis, and the result. Now, the 3 steps to the best interview ever. The call, how did you get the call? The crisis, what was the crisis point and what did you do? And the result, what did you learn? And the person listening is always asking in the back of their mind, how can this help me? And usually when you're being interviewed, you have a solution from your result that you can give to the person. Now, Joe Campbell, he said that every good story is the same. It's called the hero's journey. The call, he defines as the separation. You go from your everyday la 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 life to all of a sudden pick up the call and then your life changes. The crisis he calls the initiation. Now you're learning how to get to that next level through different things that you've never done before, which is, in my words, the crisis. And then he says, the result is the return. You come home to tell your story, which is, what is the lesson? And it's circular, which means you can, for any number of topics, have the same call, the same crisis, and the same result, the same process, but for different situations. So it's circular. It can happen again and again and again. And that's how everybody grows and recognizes it. And this is the hero's journey. If you when you present it in this fashion. Finding Joe is a great movie. And he also goes into more details of the call, the initiation, and the return, and all the different areas. Fascinating to learn, to dive deep into this. So what I've done is I've picked the best part of Finding Joe that emphasizes this, and I'm going to play it right now. And if you guys can thumbs up me, if you want the volume higher or lower, okay?
Who is Joseph Campbell and why should we care?
Okay.
Topic that comes up a lot.
Joseph Campbell was one of the leading mythology experts of all time.
Joseph Campbell is a philosopher, a man who had this ability to see the truth in a world where we've lost sight of that in many ways.
He studied all of these classical myth traditions, and he actually started by studying Native American mythology. He fell in love with it when he was a kid. This was his bliss. He wound up studying the Aboriginal cultures. He studied Greek mythology. He studied Arthurian legend.
He dissected and really diagrammed all of our stories. He compared the philosophies, the mythic stories of the whole world. All myths, all movies, all novels, all romances. And he finds this one story within all the stories that we can relate to no matter where you come from. He recognized that in spite of all the different stories we seem to be telling, there's really only one. And he called it the hero's journey.
There must have been thousands and thousands of hero stories from every culture, but until Joseph Campbell came along, certainly I never realized how they all kind of fit together and how they were basically the same story.
I was a religion major in college. I was taking my final exam, and I had a moment where I was just gobsmacked. It's just like, holy crap, it's all the same thing. I mean, it is really all the same thing.
The hero's journey is a pattern. You could almost think of it as an algorithm that has three basic parts: separation, initiation, and return. Separation. You are in one kind of a reality, in one kind of a place. You are separated from it. Initiation. You're put into another place where you are in some manner initiated. Return. You come back.
A simple version of the hero's journey is, someone starting out in their normal protected world and then getting a call to adventure.
The call to adventure.
There's a vision, there's a quest.
It's the story of the hero enduring some trials.
Various trials and ordeals.
Meeting different obstacles along the way, people that hurt you, people that help you.
Doors will open, as Campbell would say, for you where there are no doors for others. Dragons will appear that are your dragons alone.
You get to like the innermost cave where you're really challenged, like the greatest crisis, and you find your true self.
The achievement, the glory.
But then that's not the end of it. That is to bring that back to the community.
There's a return to tell the story.
That is a heroic journey. Separation, initiation, return. All of the adventures of the human story are in there. All the heroes, all the villains, all the gods and goddesses, and all of the knights, and all of the fantastic creatures we can conjure up in animation, they're all in there, because they're all in here. Because they're all in here. This is where they come from.
If you look at some of the greatest pieces of literature, the greatest works of philosophy, they all have what Joseph Campbell called the hero's journey.
And if you look with a piercing eye, you can recognize his outline in just about any movie or story you would read.
Star Wars, The Matrix, Harry Potter.
Wizard of Oz. That's a classic story of a hero's journey. You first see Dorothy in her natural environment. And just like out here in regular life, a person is operating in their natural environment every day and living in their house and that kind of thing. And then something happens to shake that world up. And you go on a journey in which you have to face certain tests and challenges.
Storytelling is typically about people learning something. You go to a place which is dark and mysterious. You are faced with yourself. There is a relationship between facing fear and this kind of soul game. You acquire a quality, a hidden strength, a value. Moments where somebody is tested, somebody moves to a place where it feels like a crisis point, and then they are restored, redeemed, made better through that trial. And we call them heroes.
If all of these stories boil down into one map, we can use that map because all human beings are the same, whether they're going through a war like World War II or going through a war inside. It's basically the same kind of process.
In other words, we're not separate from the characters we see in our movies and in our novels. They are us. It's one journey.
The whole idea of hero's journey, a journey of life, clear patterns to guide you through. You're born, you have a childhood, you have adolescence, and you try to find a place for you to become an adult. And you go through adventures. You struggle with your inner conflicts. And finally, you become a hero. You slay the dragons. You succeed in conquering all the demons, and you step over thresholds. And finally, you have arrived. We get old, we die, but within this short span, we have to have some meaning, some reason for this existence. It doesn't have to be high and mighty and fantastic. You can have a very simple life, still go through the similar pattern.
We go out and we watch a great hero's journey movie. It's that impulse within us, that seed of potential that wants to be actualized, that's being talked to during those movies and being whispered to. It's time for you to do that. That's the story here. That's what it's all about.
There's wonderful narrative iconography for how to live life. The idea that try hard you get, the little engine that could, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I can. This idea that we really can do better, be better, that our greatest selves are still hidden, and that the future is the prospect of coming to terms with that self.
Dorothy had to confront her inner barriers. And so the journey she went on was not just a journey to find out how to deal with the Wicked Witch of the West. It was how to deal with her own inner resources, how to claim her own inner resources. And at the end of the movie, how did she get back home? Well, she clicked her heels together. So she had it all the time, the ability to get back home, but it didn't get mobilized for her until she went through all of those challenges and was able to kind of test herself.
It's kind of the ordinary moving into the extraordinary. It's going through the dark to come out to the light. Going from an unsatisfying life to a satisfying life by pushing through the scariest things you could imagine.
It's better to have a story to look through at life than an explanation. The reason for that is the story is richer.
If this path of the hero's journey is fairly simple in design, why then is it that everybody isn't living it? Well, the answer is that most people on the planet live under a kind of a mass hypnosis.
There's a tremendous pressure, even in the media, on really keeping people in their place, in the sense of keeping them happy, tranced out consumers. It's a trance of comfort. It's a trance of not sticking your head up above the crowd very much. That keeps the enterprise going.
Most people think it's a luxury and a great privilege to stay home and look at their 800-inch television. If you just space out, you're not developing. We're stimulated by some images and some loud noise.
It's about collecting things and stuff and making a lot of money and doing a lot of things, and it's impossible to enjoy that because you end up on that treadmill and you can't get off.
That's the trance, that's the wasteland, where we're just guided toward this weird sense of what's real in our lives. And those ideas that are imposed on us from the outside about what we should and should not do.
If you look at every heroic journey, the hero has been confronted with the fact that the world that they thought was reality was nothing more than illusion. I go back to the Matrix, which is, what was the Matrix? It was just this big illusion. It was the dominant values and beliefs that the world had put around this guy, Neo, the seeker on the hero's journey. And what did he do? He felt this longing to go beyond the illusion, to go beyond the Matrix. So he took the red pill and he woke up to reality. And what was reality? Reality was he was full of potential.
Separation begins with what we call the call to adventure.
Campbell tells us there's literally almost a phone ringing. It's like the universe, the divine, God, whatever you want to call it, literally dialing you up and ringing and giving you a call, asking you to step out and to live your journey.
Something breaks into your quotidian reality and makes it impossible for you to continue. Well, you can hang up the phone, you can run away, but it'll keep coming back until you finally answer the call.
If you're not paying attention, the wake-up calls come in the form of a sledgehammer. You know, if you're paying attention, they might come in a tickle feather.
So we don't always get the call as a choir of angels with trumpets singing to us beautifully one sunny morning.
In Star Wars, Luke comes back, his house has been burnt down. He's got to go.
Oftentimes it comes in the depth of our despair, in losing a job, getting fired, getting divorced, having your house foreclosed on. These things that you just would never want to have happen are often the exact things we need to catapult us, to catalyze us into that next version of ourselves.
Bad things happen to good people. And when that happens to them, they typically are thrown for a loop because they frequently have felt everything's going along, I'm doing everything right. What happened? Well, you know, the universe just upended you, and it does do that.
Chinese symbol for crisis are two symbols. The first one is danger, and the second one immediately is opportunity. So crisis, both danger and opportunity.
Let me put this into really practical 100-pound terms, because if the camera had been pointed at me when I was 24 years old, what it would have seen was a person who weighed 320 pounds. You would have seen me puffing on 2 or 3 packs of Marlboros a day, a relationship that I didn't want to be in, and I had a job I hated. Everything was wrong in my life. And so those are ripe moments for a wake-up call in life. You know, if you haven't been paying attention enough so that you end up with a job you hate, a relationship you don't want to be in, a body you don't like, and you're addicted to a bunch of things, you're ripe for a sledgehammer blow from the universe. And I got it.
You step over a threshold, meaning you move from one world into another. Sometimes you're shoved from one world into the other.
I went out for a walk and I stepped on the ice on the road, and my feet shot out from under me, and I smacked my back of my head on the ground, frozen ground, and it knocked me out just enough. I wasn't completely unconscious, but I had a vision while I was semi-knocked out. I could see down through all the layers of myself to this pure consciousness inside, and I could see how all the fat I had was organized around a whole bunch of feelings I didn't want to let myself feel, like sadness from childhood and a lot of old grief in my family and anger and things like that. And I realized that the fat was there to keep me from feeling those feelings. And so as I began to come back to normal consciousness, I made a vow that I was going to change my life so that I could live in that state of pure consciousness instead of having to have all of that armor around me. Once you make the decisions that Joseph Campbell is talking about really hearing the call and being willing to take on the challenges of that new awakened life, once you do that, you begin to feel a power that it's like nothing else I've ever experienced. And I think a lot of us are just plain old afraid of that.
People wake up to the fact that they're the hero of their own life when they get tired of being the victim of their own life. At the point that that you say enough, I don't want to listen to my parents anymore. I have had it with my boss. I'm really having problems, perhaps, with the sermon I'm being taught. You can either surrender to victimhood, and a lot of people do, or you can surrender to a fundamentalism. You can basically give your responsibility to someone else and say, tell me what to do and I'll do it. Or you can say, I have a choice here and I'm responsible. Now, what does it mean to be the hero of your own life? It means to be responsible for your own adventure.
And every hero's journey, there's some death moment where some old has to go and some new has to stay.
You want to have new birth, new revelation, new insight into life as you grow as a human being. You will learn to keep dying.
The forest represents the darkness, the unknown, the edge of your world. And it takes the courage of a hero to go into that forest. The people in your community don't understand why you want to go into that forest. And in fact, they're pulling you back, asking you, why can't you be happy with what you have here? But there's this urge that exists within the hero to go and explore. For me, one of the most formative times, the first probably most formative time, was when I dropped out of law school. All of my friends at the time told me at least stay through the first year. And I couldn't make it through the first semester. I was literally nauseous at the idea of completing this. I burned my resume. I had no desire to live within the corporate world in any sense. And in the same 24-hour period of time, ended my relationship of 5 years and dropped out of law school. It was an incredibly gut-wrenching, soul-wrenching time. Moved back in with mom. There were several months where I just laid in bed, and slept and read. It wasn't a pretty process. But the only thing I knew I wanted to do was to coach a Little League baseball team. A little bit of instinct that I had, the little bit of bliss I had in my life at that time was to work with these kids. And I had no idea what would come out of it. And then 6 months later, I had an idea that, wow, there's an amazing opportunity to serve families in sports. The internet was just getting going. This was 1998. And I had a vision of what I could do to serve these families and created a company that there's no way I could have imagined when I dropped out of law school. No possible way. But as it turns out, I started this business. We won the business plan competition at UCLA. We raised $5 million. I hired the CEO of Adidas to be our CEO. And we hired the law firm that I would have wanted to work for before I graduated from law school. So there's this beautiful, sense of this is it. This is. Campbell talks about the fact that when we go on the hero's journey, there's a dragon we must slay. Now, a dragon is the most challenging, fierce creature that can ever be created in mythology.
Joe Campbell describes the dragon as being a beast covered with scales, and on every scale it says either thou shalt or thou shalt not.
I remember when I decided I wanted to do a full loop ramp, and I had this idea. I knew it was physically possible. I mean, you do it with Hot Wheels, you can do it with a skateboard, right? And so I presented the idea to my sponsor at the time, and I said, hey, I think I could do this. And they said, that sounds awesome, let's build a ramp. And I designed the ramp, and all this was on paper, and it was my idea. And I'll never forget driving up and seeing it, and this wave of fear just crashed over me, like, oh my, are you serious? Like, I made a loop, I'm really gonna, and I'm the only one that's even volunteering to do it. And at that point, I felt like there was so much at stake to not do it, because at the time, no one was building extravagant ramps. No one really had money to do that kind of thing. And there it was, and I was like, and I just had to sort of internalize and say, okay, you keep telling yourself this is possible. This is the time. We got to make this happen. And little by little, I figured it out. But I took some heavy, heavy hits that day. Actually, now we own one for our Huck Jam tour that we can do on tour every single night. But that first time, that was just frightening. But I had to really step back and go, okay, you can do this.
Fear is a very interesting thing. First of all, we need to realize that fear is an inherent part of the human experience. But it's not about getting rid of fear. Where's it going to go? There's nowhere for it to go. The issue is to have courage, to move forward in spite of the fear you feel.
The courage is not a lack of fear. The courage is dealing with your fear. Nobody would ever be described as courageous who didn't confront their own fear. That's not courage at all. It's just doing something that you find relatively unchallenging.
Courage is when you know what to do and you do it. And lack of courage is when you know what to do and you don't do it.
So Joseph Campbell talks about slaying dragons. And what do most of us do in our lives? Whether it's a difficult assignment at work, whether it's a difficult conversation we know we should have with a loved one, whether it's something we're resisting, we leave and run in the opposite direction.
The hero encounters these obstacles and flails at them. The way we think of time is as linear. I'm born, I'm going to go through these things, and I'm going to die. The hero's journey tells us no. You're going to go here, you're going to have this adventure, and you're going to come back. And guess what? You're going to be right back where you were. Now you're going to go over here and have this adventure, and you come back. You're going to go here, you're going to have this adventure, and you're going to come back. And guess what? You're going to be right back where you were. Now you're going to go over here and have this adventure, and you come back. And guess what? You're right here. What did you bring back?
What the hero brings back is a story. Gilgamesh, for example, the Gilgamesh Epic. He went out and he looked for the plant of immortality. He went through all kinds of trials with the feminine, with the monster, and so on. But he finally swam to the bottom of the sea and got the plant of immortality. He came up on the shore and put it down while he was bathing. The snake, serpent, came and got the plant of immortality. But he went home to Uruk anyway, and he had this story to tell. For Gilgamesh, there was no concrete, objective thing, widget to give to the community. No gold, no treasure, and so on. The story of the getting the treasure is the treasure. And so the giving of the story is the invitation for other people to make the same journey. That's why it's a circle. It never ends.
I love that idea that there's a circle and the circle needs to be closed. And the way to close the circle is to come back, return with something different than you started with, and to share that. And that to me is like a perfect hero's journey.
That's the ultimate end to the hero's journey. It's not slaying the dragon. It's not beating the bad guy. It's giving back the essence of that journey.
Okay, stop share, I think. Hi guys. So open forum, undo your mics. And yeah, Allie, when you can start, connecting with people, interviewing them, and build up your skills in regard to, asking them what their call is, what was the hardest part in getting to the result? What did you do? And what is the result? What is the story? What is that? Because when people talk about stories, have you ever heard someone tell their story? It's the most friggin' boring thing you've ever heard, and you just want to run, but you're too polite because they don't have those three elements, and you're not conscious of it. When you're conscious of those three elements, the story becomes fascinating. But you as the interviewer have to understand that. You as the interviewee have to give that to the person that's interviewing you. And you as a person in the business meeting, understand you can have that person that you're about to do business root for you. That was interesting. Boy, we're broad now. So does anybody have any comments for that? Does anybody want to jump in? Because everybody here is the ones that have accepted the challenge. The other ones are eating popcorn on their couch right now. Like for instance, Elizabeth. Elizabeth was, I think I was Elizabeth's call. And she's like, holy crap. And or it could have been, just simply you're a patriot, right, Elizabeth? And you're just digging deep and finding information that you're sharing with people. And by the sharing of that information, following what I've always said, is sending out an email with a captivating video. I mean, you're talking this week to somebody that ran $600 million company. He's pitching to you. Okay. So that's pretty cool. For a website platform, it's just like less than a year. If that doesn't suck, that would be a really great story. You got that call, you got that, pitch is an incredible thing. So anyway, that's
I gotta say something, Lee. I asked them how they found me, and I guess Jeff said, "Oh, my partner saw your site," and he said, "You gotta see this badass site." That's the best compliment I could ever get. But
well, that's hilarious. That's great.
You had to push me into it.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys, and she's just taking videos that that resonate with you as somebody that wants to improve the country and spread information to both Democrats and Republicans and other whatever, and it's just really good information. So and Sally, oh my gosh, she stepped out and said, I'm done with dealing on one-to-ones. I'm just going to get on the friggin' radio. because Lee said, get on the radio. And I'm going to just send leads to, Beth, and Beth will take as many leads as you want. And then there's lots of Beths that you can pass more and more leads to. So you're changing your life. You're getting your voice out, heard around the world. Art, get on the radio. The guy that was doing the hero's journey, he almost looked like you.
Yeah.
He talks like you, he acts like you. You could be him.
Well, you know, this is such a better movie, just production value. You showed earlier in the session, you had another hero's journey that was like amateurish compared to this. This was a really good presentation. I mean, it was much more instructive. Than that's a good choice that you found this, because this is a better video than the last one. That, you know,
actually, I created it.
You made it.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous. Nice.
Because the other one just was all over the map, and it wasn't getting the points. And I cut about a half an hour, 40 minutes out of that original, because it just didn't go anywhere. It lost its points.
Do you have a link to that video? Is it on YouTube so I can find it? Or
yeah, I'll just grab you the link. I'll put it in the chat right now.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I can use that. And you know, the whole thing, I mean, I'm looking at my whole life as a story I need to tell, what I'm being called to do, which seems impossible. And I was just relating to it like crazy. So you had the right guy, on that, because, you know, I'm being called to do some amazing things. And, you know, life is a hero's journey. It really is. I'm just digging it.
It's interesting because, you know, when going through the movie, they really emphasize the call much more than the actual crisis or the result. So that was fascinating for me, because, you know, and how many people in an interview do that? They don't at all.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to jump in with any comments?
The other thing I wanted to say is in storytelling, there's the major three parts, which is really what you carried, but that call is what they call a plot point. The plot point one, that call. So you're trying to live your life, and then bam, they get the phone call or whatever, or you lose something, and that moves you in the story. It moves you from what they call the exposition right into the challenge. Okay.
Right.
And then it's so dramatic that you almost lose your life. I mean, it scales up, you know. I mean, you thought it was this much challenge, but it's this much challenge. I'm into the thing where the biggest challenge right here is losing life on planet Earth because of climate change. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's the big challenge that I'm being called to help with. Okay. Yeah. And this is so helpful to me because, you know, I can't be comfortable. This is not about comfort. It is not. It is about, you know, taking on and addressing the fear of losing your life, and of giving back to the whole planet, to all species of life on it. That's my calling. Yeah. Anything less than that doesn't feel right. I'm just telling you.
No, that's good. You know, even those mosquitoes, right?
That's it. You gotta love your viruses, okay? Put them in their right place.
Put them in the right place. Anyone else want to pipe up? Oh yeah, Tia, just speak up. Come on, you're braver than that.
I don't want to be rude. I think you did an excellent job with encapsulating the hero's journey. It was very, very well done, and I could see exactly how my story fits into everything that you just portrayed. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, well, we're not the couch potatoes here. Everyone here has gotten a call, and the weird thing is, we get calls within calls within calls. Mm-hmm. But if we manage them all in their, you know, capsules, we're the most interesting people on the planet because we are because we know how to present the good storyline. If you leave out any one of those things, it's flat. And that's the key, Allie, when you're interviewing people. That's the key. Like, for instance, you could interview Troy about 10 different things because he's had 10 different calls about everything, you know, and each one follows its pattern.
Yeah, and Lee, I would love to just say too, just piggybacking off of what you said, I had the pleasure of just speaking with a few of our members this week and just watching this video that was so powerful. I heard some really, really interesting stories this week from some amazing people. And I can just go back and think, oh, I can recognize, and whether or not those that I spoke to realize it or not, I can go back and say, oh, I can see what that call was. I can see the moment that they were very clear and decided they were going to rise to the occasion. And then they faced all of this crisis, and I could just see, like, everybody here, I just know, like we have said, has this story to tell, and we have now like the platform to do it, and we have the tools and the people in this program. And so I think it was very amazing to see, and it's been wonderful to connect the dots kind of retroactively. And so if anybody here is thinking they don't have a story to tell, we very clearly do. We all have this call, we all have this crisis. Where we are in that story might be a little bit different for everybody, but that just makes it more interesting. And so it was so great to just connect how I've been able to connect with some people this week, and just thinking about those parts and how they kind of fit in. So I want to encourage everybody here, whether or not defining your story can take a little bit of work, of course, but that's why we're all here to support each other. So I thought that was really, really cool to see.
Well, I did an interview earlier this week, and I think it was Monday, and I just laced into the person about, okay, so why did you, what sparked you to do it? What was your call? What was the spark? And totally different person came out. You know, what was a crisis point? What was a point where you wanted to walk away, but you didn't? Holy crap, I had no idea, you know? And then, so what can you tell me? You know, what is your lesson? And it's really good. So we can all practice within each other. We should all do YouTube videos with each other, and then start uploading them to this Business and Consumer Report website, because they will be found. And it's certainly a lot more convincing to have your story on someone else's website other than your own, where you can point to that and point to the radio show and say, here are the questions you should ask me. Yeah, so we've got a nice, good balance going on. So is Bettina still here? Does anybody else want to jump in?
I'd like to say something. You know, following this movie, I'm thinking of the courage it took for me to do some of the things I'm doing right now. I mean, I'm still
saying mildly.
doing decision making every day. What should I post? What should I not post? You know, because there's so much censorship that's out there now, and to have the courage to bring this forward. But one of the things I'm encouraging people that I write to is to get involved, you know, to find their place. And I think if I can go my journey, then they can find their place in this world to do what they're supposed to be doing, rather than sitting on the couch and just.
Yeah, you're going through a lot. You're in the crisis period, and you've got like a bat, and you are, you know, making so many good, you know, hits, and then you're making so many fouls. It's hilarious. It's great. But that's how you learn, and you're going to be one of the top, you know, independent journalists out there, because you're moving faster than anyone else. In fact, the independent journalists, when I first met and I was trying to contact them, they're always doing it wrong. They were putting their content on someone else's website, which was Facebook, YouTube, you know, and what happened was that Facebook kicked them off, YouTube censored them, controlled their they controlled their revenue, then they controlled their visitors, their lists. And right now, all the top marketers, all the top independent journalists, most of them their businesses have been destroyed, and they're starting again, but they're not starting on the platform that you have because they're all begging for donations and you're giving leads. Way different thing. And you and I should do a video about that. And you and I should do a video with the $600 million man.
Hey, could Elizabeth put her website on the chat?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Yeah, take a look at it. Same.
Oh, why don't I see it?
I don't see it either.
It's
maybe I just, I didn't post it to every.
so it's exactly the same format. Everybody has the exact same thing. What Elizabeth is doing that you guys aren't doing is she's really working hard on the lead process. And she's doing internet marketing, which is sending an interesting video. She's sending out an email with what's it called? Clickbait, where you link to her website. And she's doing that. You said you're doing it twice a week, and we're going to pick that up. And then she's going to go on and start doing her own sort of intro to videos. And she's just going to rock it. But everybody exactly in their own domain can do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
You know? And she's just giving holy crap information that resonates with her. Sometimes it's good for, right now I don't think there's a division between Republican and Democrat. I think it's now just, what's good and what's not good. And I think that's where your focus is. What's good for Americans, what's not good for Americans, whether it's climate change, whether it's, this or that, whatever it is, you're starting out as your own independent journalist. You follow the process and you're going to succeed. And Rosie, you can be doing the same thing. Heal yourself through through smell, through sound, through everything. My line is open to anyone that have created a website platform. There's no time limit. There's no time expiry. You just, everybody sort of gets busy and then comes back to me, gets busy and then comes back to me. Rita just sent me something I hadn't heard from her in months. I just said, how do you turn $1 into $2? And then she just emailed me today. And I said, this is brilliant. Just do what you're doing, but incorporate a revenue stream. So if you like sitting at home, you can babysit. If you want to get out and walk, you can walk someone's dog. If you want to clean your house, you can open up a garage sale. And so everything that you want to do, just incorporate a revenue strategy. And that is a perfect radio show. Do what you're already doing, incorporate a revenue strategy, turn $1 into $2, but in that case, turn $0 into at least $1. So isn't that fascinating? That blew me away this morning. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and actually she posted it on Facebook, and now she's asking folks to give their strategies of how they've turned $1 into $2. So that's going to be an interesting exchange.
Okay, Mama Rita, maniac. Wow, that's great. So anyway,
did you share the link to that video? I was looking for it. I didn't see it yet.
I did. It's called Hero's Journey. Did Bettina, did I just give it to you? Only?
I think you just gave it to me, Lee.
Oh, that's
it needs to go to everyone, or you can send it to me. I mean, I don't know.
I'm getting there. Here's just geez. Most crabby man in the world. No. There you go. Did you get that, Art?
I'm looking for it. Hold on a second. I think I did. Let me just refresh this, and I think I will.
Oh, it went to Bettina again.
You have to pull down that thing from Bettina to everyone.
Oh, I get you. And now I need my glasses. Bettina, can you just send it out? Or can't you? Everyone.
Yes, I can do it in just a second.
No, I'll do it right now. So that should do it.
There it is. You got it.
Oh, what a genius. See, that was my crisis moment.
There you go. You move beyond the comfort zone. I love it. I love it.
Now I'm that person with a computer on my head.
Yeah, that's good. That's gorgeous, man. That is such good view. This is one of the best sessions you've ever done. You're right.
Okay, well, this will rock people's world when they start incorporating it into their everyday life, into every conversation you have. Think it through. What's sparking this conversation? What was your crisis, and what is your message?
And you're Shiner Romanov. Is that I'm subscribing to your channel, Shiner Romanov.
Yeah, all the videos that I think Google's gonna or YouTube's gonna pull down.
Mhm.
I put them on my dog's website.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Shiner.
I don't want YouTube to delete my channel. They're deleting a lot of channels. So yeah. So Shiner doesn't mind if his channel gets deleted.
So
Well, that's good.
I have a question, if it's okay.
Sure. Who's that?
Debbie.
Debbie.
First, so I loved the video, and one of the statements was made in the video that I liked the best is that courage is knowing what to do and doing it, whereas being a coward is knowing what to do and not doing it.
Yeah.
But it's been a question that in fact, when I interview, for Allie, maybe, I interviewed 20 top health influencers, and that was a question I asked every one of them. And I call it the BV moment, BV, that billionth of a volt, that moment when you decide, I'm going to take this action, right?
Yeah.
So I see the journey, but it's always interesting to me, that moment when a person wakes up, or remember the guy when he hit his head and he was a 320-pound man, but not everybody falls and hits their head, but that moment when it's like Tiu, for example, you were in an abusive relationship and you lived with it and lived with it and lived with it. And one day it's like, enough. And if you could just put in a capsule or a pill, what it is, that moment when we say enough. And I guess that was a question I love to ask people is, what was not just the moment, but what inspired you now to make the change when you didn't make the change yesterday and the day before and the day before?
Yeah.
That BV moment. Anybody have any thoughts to that?
Yeah, I took the red pill.
Yeah, but why? Again, I mean, that's the thing, is it's that thing, that moment. And I'm going to give you one example. There's a lady I'm trying to get on here as a member. And she is a doctor who was a prostitute, a drug addict, and so on and so forth. The moment for her was when she was passed out in a drug-induced stupor, raped, and her shoes were stolen. And she wakes up with no shoes here in Phoenix, Arizona. And she had to walk like 10 miles in 115-degree heat with no shoes. And it was a moment, it's like, that's enough. I'm done, as her feet were burning, walking that distance. Instead of walking into the pimp's door, but instead walking to the bus and getting out of town and going to a shelter and finding help. And I guess maybe it is moments like that for everybody. But I guess the threshold of when one person says, no, I'm ready to take the red pill, and the threshold for another, they have to fall and be knocked unconscious. I guess that's kind of that thing, that difference is people have different thresholds maybe.
The one thing that I've learned is you just have to accept in faith that you're getting the right message and go with that faith. There's no explanation for it. There's so many miracle things that happen to you in your life that are totally unexplainable. It's the point is to move. The point is to take action. You cannot, I'm an intellectual, and that's my danger, is trying to think it through. Well, how can it this, what did it do to my cells, or what did it do to, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you move based on that faith. That is your fire. Okay. And that comes in so many different ways. It is a divine, the only way I can explain it is that it is a divine gift. That's all I can figure out. It's just a gift. And it's something that you need to accept. You need to be in a receptive mode so that you listen to every step that you have to take. And there'll be step after step after step, and some of it will make no sense at all. None.
So Debbie, I'll give you an example. My brother went to the doctor to get some medication for a rash, which caused another a reaction. So he got another medication for that, which caused another reaction, which he went back and got more medication. And then he got hooked on, all kinds of medications. And at one point he was taking 35 pills a day. And, I was at his place and like, when is he going to stop? When is he going to hit that point? When is he going to answer that call? And I'm at his place and he has like an episode and he falls on me. And I looked more damaged than he did, but we had to call 911. Him following on me was my call to say, I can't do this anymore. He eventually died because he never answered the call to do anything. So it's what a bizarre kind of thing. So you just, and people will die just not to have to answer the call, because the call is work. It is a hell of a lot of work. And sometimes it just doesn't work out, which leads to another call.
Art, I mean, that's how I live my life, is listening to that still small.
Yeah, I know.
But my point is what Lee just said, and I guess maybe I'm a little raw, and I'm not even going to say it because we're on Facebook Live, but right now, today in my family, Lee, there's something like that going on with what Lee said. But it's my mother, and so it doesn't matter. But the point is that it just breaks my heart because some people just never listen to that still small sweet voice that's ringing and ringing and ringing and freaking knocking on the door, and some people just don't ever pick up the phone.
No, because answering the call is hard. It means change. And change, even though change eventually is easier, especially for instance in TU's life, but the change at that point seems overwhelming.
I'd like to add to that one.
Yeah,
I got a call, it was like my wake up call, I'm done. And I turned into the fighter to fight to get out of the situation I was in. What I didn't realize was that I had only reached a certain point in the journey and another call had to come for me to start paying attention, because I had become, I had accepted a life of mediocrity. Okay, it was better than where I was. And I thought, hallelujah, I don't have the abuse anymore. However, what I didn't realize was I was still sabotaging myself until I picked up that call and went, that's right, because that was the scariest step at all, to start moving forward again, especially when I thought it was okay. But
and I want to give you a great recognition to you, because when you signed up, you were a retired postal worker with a dream and a vision to write a book. And now you actually have a book that's in its final editing. And you took up the challenge to do your 5-minute video spotlight 2 months ago. We're running that 5-day challenge this week. And although I've always been on the calls at 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., we need some people who want to pick up that challenge, because I'll be back on at 9 a.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. the rest of the week, to help people who want to do that challenge. So we really have, what Lee does, and I've had this direct experience with her. She lays down the gauntlet. Bettina, you need to get you need to get on the radio. Great, I'm on the radio. I in fact have my own radio program now. Bettina, you need to stop working so hard. Okay, Lee, I'm going to stop working so hard. Bettina, take everything off your list. If it doesn't have anything to do with picking up the phone and talking to people who want to join or people who want to interview you, mark it off the list. So the call to action for us really is whatever you're doing, whatever's on your list, most of it you can just scratch off and pick up the call that that Lee has been laying down week after week after week after week. Do what she's saying, follow the path, practice, work with each other, buddy up. Anybody want to be on a challenge around making 6 figures this year? That's my next challenge to you. If you want to make 6 figures this year, pick up the phone and give me a call. We've got a mentor here who comes every single week. We haven't missed a single Wednesday. And the challenge is to drop what you're doing and think again about all the itty bitty things, because most of them are not getting you where you want to go. Most of them are just procrastination techniques.
That we're really good at, though.
Yeah, really. And they seem so logical. They seem so logical. Like, let's create a program and have a 5 email part system so that when we get that done, then we'll have business. No, it doesn't work like that. Lee said, Bettina, get on the radio. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, I've got to have my act together. I've got to have, a bio. I've got to have a 1-sheet. I've got to have all this stuff that they're going to be asking for. It didn't work that way. I got on the radio and then I put my 1-sheet together. Then I put my bio together. So, stop working in the business and start working on your business.
Yeah, just do the stuff that's going to generate you revenue. Calls go both ways. Pick up the phone or answer it. Don't put it on your answering machine.
That's cool.
Okay, so we're all good. Debbie next week is going to be presenting her sign language, her body sign language, the sign language of the body. Did you hear that, Debbie?
Trust your gut. Trust your gut.
Sign language of your body.
I think Debbie just stepped away moments before you said that.
Isn't that perfect?
What did you say? Was that Troy?
Oh, crap.
I said I didn't know that until right this second, but
That's right. I didn't think about it until right this second. So,
Troy, I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Oh,
you had posted that you're leaving, and so right as Lee started talking about you, I was saying, "Oh, I think Debbie stepped away."
I have to get going here in just a second.
Yeah. Sign language of the body. We're going to be talking about that next week, Debbie.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's
perfect.
Really good. It's really good. She's going to go viral around the world. So we're going to start. You guys are going to be our test group. And then after that, Debbie's got something that was going to go viral around the world. Little heart-shaped head Debbie. Okay.
And before I go, you said something, Art, and somebody else, Elizabeth. I don't know if you've ever seen the docudrama called Seaspiracy, like conspiracy, but the letters Seaspiracy.
Yeah.
It is an absolutely powerful docudrama as it relates to global change, global climate change, and particularly how the relationship between the over farming in our oceans and what it's doing on every single level. And in fact, the man who put it together very much had a story like that lawyer who quit law school and decided to answer a question. So anyway, it just was.
Wow.
I saw that and I concur. That was really, really amazing.
What's it called again?
Yeah, it's called
Seaspiracy. Did you get that, Elizabeth?
I've got it.
Elizabeth, like the word conspiracy with SEA. And I mean, I tell you, after watching that movie, I am changing certain ways that I eat. I was so taken aback by some of the facts in that movie. So you guys, I love you. I will see you next Wednesday. And
okay, we can talk about her now.
All right, go ahead.
Bye, Debbie.
Yeah, right.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're all good. I'm going to be signing out unless someone needs me for one more answer to a question. No? Good.
Thank you so much, Lee. I got back on my computer here and at home. I've survived picking up cats, an autistic child in the car, and having my car jumped because I had forgotten that my keys needed to be near my car, and I thought my car was dead, and it wasn't. So, and drove all the way back home during this hour. Phew.
Yeah, but what's your
If I
crisis?
look a little worse for wear.
Was that your call?
One heck of an afternoon. My son is moving on the 24th, and I offered to help, you know, just for a short time, enough to get back home in time. And then all of a sudden it was like, nope, you're not going to get back on time. Okay, well, I guess I'm starting this meeting in the car. And then the doctor said 10 minutes, and that's like 45, 50 minutes later. Oh dear. Okay. But I'm back.
It's okay. You're in big trouble. That's all there is to it.
Thank you for running a long movie.
Yeah, that's right. See you guys. Talk to you later. Allie, call me.
Bye.
Thank
Okay.
you. Lee.
Thank you, Lee.
Lee. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up tonight. As we do every meeting, we have an opportunity to do a little networking round. And I changed it up last time. I'm going to change it up again this time. And did Tia pop off already? Oh, no, there she is. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is start off by sharing success stories. Specifically, I'm going to have Tia talk about what occurred for her working with us on the 5-minute spotlight. And then I'll have Lori go next. She's booked to actually have hers recorded here in my studio. And I'm gonna just look forward to hearing what you have to say. Remember, there are folks there out on Facebook that are gonna be watching, and they're watching our membership, and they're wondering what the heck are these people doing, and why are they always just so happy? And you have a happy story, I want that recorded. Tell us what has occurred for you.
Wow. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I did jump into that class to learn how to do my 5-minute story. And at first what I saw was, you know, I had essentially a rough draft. And through the 5 days, it evolved into a really incredible video. You know, it evolved into a story that was condensed down because mine was way too long. And then when I went right away, it was the 1st of January to get the video, and Larry Domenico did a beautiful job. And the only reason it hasn't moved forward was I ran into a little glitch, but it wasn't about the video at all. It was, I had to make sure it was okay to post a certain picture. And the video at first went up on YouTube, and it generated some connections with my family that I hadn't been speaking to in a really long time. And so I thought, all right. And that was the little glitch I had to take care of. So Larry edited a little picture, but it's coming back up. And when I get it all back up, it's going to be on YouTube. And I am contacting Shay Vaughn. I'm going to go through that and get that out there, because the book is scheduled to launch in June. And I'm thrilled to pieces, because right now it's like the final edit stage, and then it goes to cover design and all that. So it's kind of a weird feeling, because you're right. I'm writing this, it's like my life story. And one minute you've got your finger hovering over the send button to send it to the editor. And I'm like, I don't know, should I say this? So there's issues in there where I got a little nervous. I thought, no, just be a big girl and do it, because this needs to be out there. And, to know that it's not only just the book, and the book is huge. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Having a book is a huge accomplishment, but being able to work with people that are in the We Empower You group and the members and all these other extras that we have from this, from you, Bettina and Lee, and all this guidance that we're getting just helps empower us to keep moving forward with our mission and goals. So I'm thrilled to pieces that I have the video, and I've heard nothing but good things from it. And to know that now my family is coming back together, there is no greater gift. To know that what matters most in my heart is being connected once again. You never know the doors that are going to open. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, because it's so well worth it.
That's great. And what I love about your story to you is you had a dream, you had a vision, you were offered the opportunity to become a We Empower You member,
and you were a little bit fearful, you know, the financial commitment was big at the time, and you went ahead and you just did it. And then the money came right back to you when Doris Green Hughes joined.
Hughes
and
Green,
you-
Hughes Green.
Hughes Green, Doris.
You always get that. There's something going on in your head every time. Every time.
Doris Hughes Green, and she joined. And then on top of which you ended up getting the funding, therefore, for you to have your book edited. And then the story goes on from there. You took the 5-day challenge. We do the 5-day challenge gratis. There's no charge to attend. And you took it. And then you came not once, but twice, because you came to 2 separate series, right? One in December, one in January. And then you keep popping in, checking in here and there. And then we teamed up with Larry Domenico, who offered this 2-hour package, which is $297, and a 3-hour package at $497. And we end up having, you know, this opportunity to work with a really great videographer who can tell a story visually for us with just us. And, you know, he's doing a free 30-minute consultation for anybody who wants to talk to him about your lights, your camera, your action, and your story. And we are shooting here in my studio here on Capitol Hill, as well as sometimes like with the on-site that he did with TU is the $497 package. And I misstated, they're actually 1 hour at $197 and 2 hours at $297. So that you have an opportunity to work at in a budget that works for most people.
You know, I want to highly encourage everybody to keep coming back and checking into these Wednesday 3 o'clock meetings and the Saturday at noon, because people keep coming from, we don't know, you know, different facets of life. And I am thrilled to be one of the people that spoke to Allie last week, because I learned that, you know, I don't want to spend a lot of time learning the technical end. I really, you know, I am not the computer girl. That's not my thing. But everything that you and Lee offer and everyone else brings to the table, it's like we do the things that we love to do, and then we give the other things away. You know, we just hire someone else to help. And I am thrilled that Allie is now working to help me get my website up and the way I want it, without having to, for me to sit there and try to figure it out. And, you know, I don't want to always bother Lee, you know, Lee, what do I do here? You know, she's a wonderful, wonderful resource, but her time is valuable as well. And so with the respect, you know, Allie's going to jump in as the, I guess I'd say the middle gal. She's got all the technical aspects. And all I need to do is just like the first time we spoke, I just told her my ideas and we're already going to town with it. I'm excited that, you know, just keep coming back. I encourage everyone to keep coming back.
Yes, thank you so much to you, and congratulations. Also, you mentioned Allie jumping in last week to offer anybody who wants to do a single page. They're just $20 with a really hot video that's taking off, some clickbait content, and all the right links, and then you're off and running. So, you know, you can do a page a week, a page a day, whatever you can afford. That's a really good deal. Thank you so much, Allie. And next we're going to have Lori Segal Whaley, who's also taken off. And she came to 3 of the sessions that we've had, these 5-day challenges, and she's ready to shoot on the 23rd.
Yep.
Lori, welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
What's it been like? Tell us about your role here in membership, in the membership of We Empower You.
I jumped on in the beginning because I just felt that it was something that could benefit me. So I've got my website, and I'm just like to you, I'm not techie at all. I actually contacted Ellie, and I have information that needs to get up there, like my TEDx talk. I have not done that yet. So Ellie's going to help me. And actually there's 2, but there's only 1 video. So I'm going to do my video with Larry next week? Yeah, next week. And I've been working on my story for a long time and just cutting it down and just getting bold about it. I contacted Amen Clinic because I had some brain scans done, and my brain actually looked like I was a druggy person because there was holes and gapes and valleys, and it wasn't a pretty looking brain like over 10 years ago. And so I told them that I should be their poster child. And I did write an article for another magazine, well, actually a blog, and I included the image. And so it's going to be one before when I first started, and then as I progressed, I'm going to have another one. But it shows how my brain did. All the holes started coming out and being more smooth, like it should be, like tofu or Play-Doh or something like that. So I'm loving all the resources. That's what I'm really benefiting from and it's just, you know, everyone's knowledge and people helping each other. And I love it. And I introduced Elizabeth to it because I really felt like she would love this too. This is what she's looking for. And I think she can attest that, yes, this is what she's looking for. I just want to get out there and speak more. I'm getting tired with being behind the screen, but I'm also learning in the meantime how to project outside of just having the screen and you're looking at the camera and it just stops right there. And I've learned so much from everybody, from all, and I've been doing Zoom meetings and trying to improve trying to up my game is really what I'm doing.
I love it.
Yes, and thank you.
We're looking forward to having your video produced here. And it'll be the first one that we're shooting that's not mine in my Capitol Hill apartment here. And we'll have a really fun time while you're here. And I'm all vaccinated, you're vaccinated, so we're gonna be
No, I'm not. I'm not, but if you'd like,
I will do
No,
that's okay. I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know. Oh, anyway, my journey was I was rear-ended twice when in my 50s, and I was reading at a 7th grade level and just had all kinds of issues. I could not function very well at all. So I went through thousands of appointments in order to regain wellness. And I wrote the book just for my own personal goal. And I wrote the book and it came out in 15 and then in 16 went on Amazon. And then in 2018, I was offered a contract with Title Publishing. And it came out just before COVID. And so I didn't go on my book tours. I was gonna go, I have a trip planned to Japan, actually 2 last year I was gonna go, but neither one worked out. But hopefully maybe in 22 I'll get to go. I don't think Japan is opening up at all until, not even for the Olympics. So it's gonna be a
right. Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm gonna now go to Allie, since we've been bragging about Allie and she's still on the call. I know Sally Page wanted to know, how does she get a hold of you?
We did.
Yes, Sally and I did speak today. Yes, we had a wonderful conversation. And yes, it's, I just want to say for a moment, Sally and I were speaking a little bit just about the value of this hour that comes after, it's like the meeting as a whole, but just so much value in the time where we get to speak after Lee's done her presentation, with just getting to talk to everybody and have a chance to say whatever your story is or whatever you need or things like that. So that is so amazing. I'll just reiterate a little bit for anybody who heard briefly Lee talking about the me helping with the article. So in terms of her new website, which we can post press releases, breaking news, you know, Lee says that there's so much power in having another entity kind of talk about you as opposed to your own information on your own site. If anybody wants to really just get in touch with me, I can post again my email and my phone number in the chat. For that particular service, I can help with those offers. I've talked to some of you guys for really more for your own websites, but just remember too, like she says, it's really helpful to have on that other presence as well. I know she wants to build that up and for us to use this as a resource for that. So anybody can get in touch with me. And I also just offer a variety of other services too. I've been speaking with some of our members about like social content, and I've done a lot of stuff. So a variety of services. Writing is like my cornerstone, but there's so much I've done kind of as a result of that, with like a marketing background and the tech side and stuff like that. Also just being having been with Lee's website now, actually, I've been part of the program really for a number of years, to be honest. So I've been really comfortable with just the website part of it, and as well doing some other just like tech related. So I have a hand in a bunch of different areas. And so whatever that looks like as a result of my relationship with anybody, whether that turns into a professional working client relationship or not, if anybody, I have a consulting background. I'm a tutor and a writing consultant is my my main area. What I'm mostly trained in is communicating with people to help understand your needs. I love doing that. And sometimes people get so much value just from that talking, from that communicating, to develop just new ideas that come up. And so even if you're finding there's a need in your business that you don't know exactly how to move forward, that is totally okay. And I also just want to reiterate what we've said a few times on this call about there are some things where you might think you might be struggling with some area, and maybe you might think that other people are struggling with that same thing, but there might be someone out there that is their genius zone, or that's a thing that's no big deal. And we might think, oh, there's no way, like I can't do it. There's someone else can do it. And that might just be the thing that someone else, that's what they're made for. And that's the easy part for them. So I want us to be encouraged and don't think that there's a challenge that we can't meet, because sometimes you have an obstacle in your path, but you don't always have to just overcome that obstacle by doing the things yourself. Like you said, like instead of just wrestling with it yourself, sometimes you can just hire it out, and you can save so much energy, so much time, so much stress. You can develop a wonderful relationship with another party as a result of that, and just eliminate a lot of the stress that comes with it. So we can focus on, like Bettina and Lee are saying all the time, what you said, I loved how you said, Bettina, stop working in the business, start work. How did you say it?
Stop working in the business and start working on your business.
Exactly. We spend so much time. I've certainly been, I've done this as well, where I spend too much time focusing on the things that don't matter, when really these meetings help us remember what's important. We're trying to move forward with our goals, with our business, with our life. And so you never know the power that one phone call can have. One conversation can move you forward, and you can find a person, whether that's me, whether that's someone else, sometimes you can just have a conversation with someone that can connect you to the perfect person that you need to really get you to the place that you want to be. So I encourage us all to just continue to speak with each other, but especially if there's a way that I can help, even if that just starts with a conversation and you're not quite sure what you need, please get in touch with me. I love just talking, and I love helping people figure out what they need. I'm pretty good at it. If I toot my own horn for a minute, but yes, just I encourage us all to just keep taking advantage of the amazing opportunities that we have in front of us.
Great. Thank you so much, Allie. It's great to have you as part of our adventure. And I know Art Johnson has to jump out of this call here today. Before he goes, do you have any last final closing thoughts, Art? Oh, maybe he already parted. Okay, next up, RMC's iPhone. First to arrive, in fact, early today. Hi there. Turn your volume or speak up higher. Yeah, we can hear you a bit.
Okay. You want me to first? I'm going to give you a question.
I can't understand. I can't hardly understand you because your volume is down.
Oh, sure. I could hardly. I didn't understand what your question was asking. Is it still down my volume?
Oh, just what is your call? What are you doing? for business?
Basically, what I do is I do like the homepage. I'm kind of like a contractor, and I have this web page. But then at the same time, too, I was thinking of changing and do something else with the web page. And then as I look at some of the ways we've been talking about leading and what I'm thinking about doing when I get to answering that call, then I'm going to kind of try to implement a lot of these techniques that she's referring to. But for what I do right now, my web page is just, I haven't any other videos, but I like the ideas of picking up the YouTube content and direct, some of the strategies that we talked about in this, but I haven't answered the call as far as the second call as to like stop doing what I was doing and move on to do what I want to do.
I didn't get all of that, but it sounds like you're using some of the pages and also the directory with Lee, and you're still working it through, right?
Well, it's a lot, but I kind of get the idea, like you were saying, how to do it. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. But redirect, like like the video was saying, you're doing something, and then afterwards you stop doing what you're accustomed to normally do. This big event that causes you to just stop doing what you normally do, and why now you get a call to do something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
What now is to shift my energy, but at the same time I'm picking up all this information so that when I go into my page and check out all the stuff that I created before, and I'll recreate it to do where my energy is carrying me to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, almost everyone who joins has had older stuff that they put a lot of time and money into.
Yeah.
And all I can say is just trust what Lee is saying and spend some of your time with new content, with this new process, and you'll be happily surprised, and you might ultimately abandon what you've done in the past, because at the end of the day, what she teaches works, and I prove it to myself every single week, and pretty well sometimes every single day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cool, but I know it do work. I've been listening to her for a long time, and like a lot of this stuff that she was saying, like a lot of the other pages, you can't really do the kind of stuff that her page is allowing us to do, in the back end, and it's really cool, what I mean? At one time I was into it like heavy, and then I just kind of dived away. But now as we begin to swim, like for instance with the lead generations, and it's like so much, but that was always there, she's always kind of advertising that had videos on her thing to show you how to, but now she's actually just kind of like giving these motivational speeches and kind of giving you a little bit of information as to how you can really go forward and like, instead of just thinking about it like just great, what I mean? And that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can relate to working with Lee over time. So thank you and welcome. And we'll get to know you better as we move along.
Just kind of appreciate it.
Thank you. And yes, we are recording, and Marianne's asking for Mama Cheesecake. She's gonna come up here pretty quick, and she's operating her cheesecake practice there, and in her kitchen and cleaning up at the same time. I'm gonna bring up Sandra and Elizabeth, and then we'll go with Marianne as our last three. Art, if you're there and you want to pop in, let me know. I had offered that opportunity, but you might have just left your computer and walked your dog. All right, Sandra from Early Insurance Solutions.
Hi, Bettina. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I am so excited about a lot of things. I can hardly contain myself, but part of it is because the sun is out. And, I'm golfing. That's a good thing. and really trying to pay attention to my business so that I can do all the things that are offered through We Empower You. So I know that some of it is a little bit of a struggle. We're working on our website, and that we'll talk to Lee about that here probably within the next couple of days. And as far as the business is concerned, it's been like, gosh, for a whole year we've had a little bit of work to do, but now that folks are paid their taxes, or at least they're trying to pay them and doing some other things, we're getting busier and busier, so I'm getting back in flow.
Fantastic, Sandra. It's going to be great to see you. Oh, who do we have here?
This is
Wilma. You're right underneath the space, the wind, not windmill. Oh my gosh.
the big wheel ride.
The big wheel.
Which I want to ride one day real soon. I just wanted to add with what Sandra was saying. We have been working on the website. We have established some leads, and we're looking very forward to, some combined leads, referrals, that type of thing. Still going to be somewhat of a doer, but we probably have continued to be a doer as well as answering the call. So some of that crisis, as Sandra has indicated, is over. But we move on to the second crisis. As we open up the economy, we see that there's going to be a lot of room for some, not justification, for some reestablishment of the workplace and the workforce and its culture. So that's opening up many windows for us as well. So we're excited.
Great. That's great. And I would encourage both of you to contact Allie and have a conversation, because she might be a great go-between or in-between solution. You two are very busy ladies, and she could expedite you. Like in a restaurant, in the service business, right? The expediter who brings you your delicious food and all the things that asks you, is there anything else I can get you? Allie's our expediter.
All right, great. We'll be in touch.
Great. All right, Elizabeth, take it away. Unmute. There you go.
Well, this has been quite the journey. So I think, maybe it's good to tell my story or my call. I've just really interested in all different sides of the news, and long time ago, I disconnected from mainstream media of any kind. And I just was listening to all these independent people on YouTube and whatever, and then mostly conservative, because you don't hear that quite often on mainstream media. And I remember the call was sitting in my car January 8th and finding out that pretty much everybody that I listened to had been deplatformed, censored, and taken off YouTube. Their careers that they built over years just were gone. And I was just stunned. And thankfully I had, found other ways to find them, but I had to do a lot of digging. And none of these people were evil people. None of them were calling for violence. They just had a conservative point of view. And so I just sat there just stunned, and I just thought, what am I going to do? So I called, just messaged a lot of people on Facebook, my friends, and said, hey, I have time to dig right now. I'm not working. If I dig and do a newsletter, would you be interested in some of the things I found? And so, yeah, a lot of friends wanted that. So I put that together, and then I was trying to coordinate it with my One Essential Thing website. And Lee finally looked at me and she said, you're just doing it all wrong. You just have to go for it. And so I just went for it. I just basically switched over from One Essential Thing to patriotsinformed.com. And it's still a challenge to do this. So I just try and dig things out. Right now I'm doing found a guy who teaches a weekly class on the Constitution, putting that up and just going line by line. Some people are interested, some people aren't. So then I get news articles on other things and put it up there. And my goal is just to probably bring down the division that we see in this world, and just bring as much truth as I can find, so we can find middle ground between people, because I think division is where our country's falling apart. And that's kind of the goal that I have.
Nice.
So the whole platform has given me the opportunity. Lee's been invaluable to help me do it and show me the way. And I've had some really good contacts from people seeing the website and wanting to connect and put their businesses on it. And it's just been really a lot of fun. It's really evolving. The opportunities are just limitless.
And if you're comfortable sharing, share where you were when we had our first call, you and I.
Well, I had been an entrepreneur for a lot of years, and I'd done everything from owning a gift store to doing a lot of network marketing to making hats. I mean, I've just done everything. And in 2000, I was kind of burned out with it, and I said, I just can't do this anymore. And I went back to waitressing. And that was the love of my life. I just loved it. Ooh, something went crazy there. And did that for 20 years, put everything else down. And then the waitressing was so much fun. And then my mom started declining in her 90s, and I had tasked with a lot of the caregiving for her. And the job kept me going, but I had to put my business and everything else on the side. And then finally she passed away. And in the meantime, I lost my waitressing job because of COVID. Went back on unemployment and just lost of what I wanted to do after mom died and trying to pull my life back together. And so I struggled with wanting to do one essential thing where I was presenting some of the wonderful products I had found over the years, and then balancing this little email thing. And all of a sudden the little email thing became the primary goal.
Yeah. And you were we have about 60% of our members who go on to hire Lee as their mentor and to help them with the website. And you were in the camp of, I do it myself. I know a thing or two about websites. You had some background and experience running some of your own websites, and you've had you've attended the meetings over and over and over. So you're getting value there. What's been your experience of working the back end of the website and moving yourself through that?
Well, having a little bit of background, I was on Blogspot, and so I knew some of it. But I looked at the website and I just went, oh my gosh, where do I even begin? And I know I could have struggled with it for months, but finally I said, I'm just going to have Lee help me because she's written the book. She knows how to do it. Why not? And because it's going to push my business forward faster. And so I hired her to coach me, and we were just trying to work through this whole economy thing. And finally, she said, just Elizabeth, just go for Patriots Informed. And I said, okay, Lee, I'll do it. And I woke up the next morning and she had totally redesigned the whole website. She had it all done, just all done. And all I had to do is tweak it here, tweak it there. But I love doing the back end. So when she'd say, I'll do something for you, I said, no, Lee, I want to learn how. So I learned how, and I call her whenever I have a glitch, like I need a button here, or I need to know how to do this.
So you're an absolute resource to any member of this group because you initially did it yourself, and then you subsequently have worked with Lee and her genius. So you have the benefit of seeing both sides of that equation. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Coming up on our 5 o'clock hour, and I want to make sure Marianne gets in here. She has a existing platform that she has to be on at 3:10. So she ended up finding time to join us here today. Thank you, Elizabeth. Welcome, Marianne.
There we go. All right, I'm on. So I do a 310 live on both Instagram and Facebook. So I haven't had a chance to get on. And then I finally read all the way through and saw that you guys are on till 5. And I went, oh my God, I'm going to jump on right now. So I will do that for the rest of the time. I missed the very beginning, but just a little bit I heard, I was like, okay, wait, I need to pay attention. So next time I'm going to have my notepad and pen So as soon as I turn off the camera from my live, I will jump on with you all. So I can get more info as well.
Yeah, and we do record these. Normally I go right on Facebook Live, but I got caught serving my family, which of course is always a priority. And then I wasn't here to hit the go live button. I can't figure out if there is a way to even do that by phone. So, but I will post this on Facebook on my personal page, and then I lob it over to the We Empower You Facebook page and the private page and the public page. And so we'll have access to all of these going forward. And hopefully we're also friends on Facebook already, but if we're not,
I think so. Yeah, I'll check and see and make sure.
That's great.
But
and so
yeah,
you're still cleaning up your kitchen because you make cheesecakes out of your kitchen. And that's
well,
official studio also.
Yeah, it's actually my studio. The cheesecakes are done in a kitchen in a neighboring, like 2 cities down from where I live. So I go in there to do baked items that I sell. Here, this becomes my studio. So trying to clean it all up is always so much fun, of course. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing. And at the same time, we had an issue with our stove. So my son is here messing with it. So you'll hear some noise in the background. A little bit of everything. But I do want to say, I don't know if Bettina, was it you or was it the one, Allie? Yeah, someone who had said about working in your business rather than on the business. Yeah. And that's what I'm notorious for. And I really, need that help and be able to work on it. So yeah, I think that's huge.
Yeah, the reason I said that is that every once in a while we all need one of these slap in the faces, and to be able to go like, okay, enough about that busyness, enough about that working in my business. I got to think through what is going to create flow, what is going to create, therefore, cash flow, what's revenue generating activity that I can do to generate revenue. And oftentimes when you ask yourself those questions, what do I need to put down in order to pick up something bigger over here? Then find that it's working on your business that actually matters, not working in your business. We're all good at working in our business. But what tends to happen is it's such a great excuse because you can always say, oh, I'm so busy. Have you ever heard that when someone writes you back, I'm so busy right now. I can't stop and look at We Empower You because I'm so busy right now. And it's like, well, it can make you money. Well, I'm so short on money right now. I don't know if I can afford it. And it's like, okay, that's exactly why you need to be here because we can teach you how to make money. But recently, a couple Sundays ago, I coached with a gal in Germany who took a course from Dr. Cherie Carter Scott. Both of us did, and we were coaching each other. And we just, after our course last summer, we continued to coach one another. And I realized, like, I've known for a year, going in on a year anyway, that I'm sitting on a multi-million-dollar business. And if I really think hard about it, and I don't scare myself, I'm actually sitting on a hundreds of millions dollar business. That's the truth. What we are creating is got legs, and it actually is going to hit what they call as a tipping point. And if we don't have our ducks in a row and we don't have certain things in place, it's going to be hard to service, right? So we can do certain things right now, but then there's certain things that we have to stop doing because when you're at 1,000 people or even 100 people, you can't really afford to do things a certain way. And so by thinking like that, I'm like, now I'm a millionaire thinker. What does a millionaire CEO need to decide today on my business? Not the one that's doing, not the one that's working over here too hard, like Lisa, or the one that's even promoting others. What does that CEO of my company need to be doing right now? And it all gets back to the same things I just talked about. if somebody else can do it better than you, and it's their fire, Allie was talking about their genius, if it's their genius and not yours, hire it out. Just hire it out. Elizabeth just gave an example. Is it her genius? No. Can she do it? Yes. Which was the better investment? Getting out of it and giving it over to Lee. Because Lee can overnight change things for her. She would have to spend hours and days and days and days. And so the value of hiring somebody like Lee was well worth the investment. That's the other thing. Sometimes we get afraid. So fear, false evidence appearing real, comes into our decision making, and we're like, oh my God, I can't pay someone to do a 5-minute video because I don't have that. Well, if you don't have it, then you won't have some of the benefits that you could have from having it. So is it going to make you money to have a video? Absolutely. So then it's an investment because it's making you money. There are things in our life that cost us money. Like I have a Google account. I have an Apple account. I have a Meetup account. I have several of these accounts, and they're all just cost. There's no amount of money they're trying to make me. They're just trying to drain me dry, right? Those storage facilities, those digital clouds facilities, they're just, hey, you're up to $199. Let me take you to $9.99 a month, right? That's cost. But when you're investing in your business, when you're stopping to decide, what do I need to invest in my business now? Then you have to put something down, generally speaking. And if that means busyness or working in your business and hiring it out, that's what that means. And so right now, Lee and I are talking about how can we create more of a digital value that someone can just go online and see what we're doing here and click on a button and then just buy it. And they don't even talk to us. Then we bring them over here where we can have some high touch and high value going on collectively, where we're speaking from one to many. Because if we're doing even a 20 or 30 or 40 minute or an hour long phone call for everyone who purchases what we're doing, when we're at 1,000, we can't do it. It's not scalable. So we have to get to a point where what we're selling, so to speak, is sold digitally. And so having taken the time to figure that out, now we know that we have to take some other steps. So yeah, working in your business does not get you anywhere. Working on your business gets you everywhere. Well, that said,
thank you.
It's time for us to close. A little late, but it's always great to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming today.